Okay, so we are back with another duel for the Duel Monsters League tournament. And so here we have Mako Tsunami's deck. Starting off, we have Giga Gaga Gigo and Tearworking Salmon. These are two level 5 water monsters with a pretty nice attack, and we'll get into why these two are here in a second. Most of you who play the game already know why, just by looking at it, but for those of you who don't, just be patient a little bit. Then we have Great White, because he did use the card. He used a different version of the card. The only difference was the defense points. Personally, I like the artwork of Great White better, so that's why Great White is in the deck. Then we have Daedalus, because Mako's deck was all about just the creatures that lived in the sea, and Daedalus is his new ace monster. He still does have Legendary Fisherman in the deck, because that was his quote-unquote rarest card, but now he has something even better and much more reliable. Its effect is very destructive, and we have Neo Daedalus, the transformation of the original card. And then we also have a transformation of the Legendary Fisherman, which is the Legendary Fisherman 3. And then we have Warrior of Atlantis to go ahead and search out his field spell, but he already has 3 copies of it, so getting the field spell is essentially a guarantee already. Then we have 2 Abyss Soldiers, because it is a nice and powerful 1800, and that bounce effect, it can be very, very devastating. Then we have these 2 monsters right here, the Armed Sea Hunter and the Atlantean Dragoons. Both of them are sea serpent creatures with 1800, and they each have their own nice effects, and they're both level 4s, which is actually going to be very important. Then we have Abyssal King Shark, another heavy beater with a pretty nice effect. Mermaid Knight, because she has an ability when Yumi's on the field, and we'll get to that in a second as well. Then we have Kotorus, because when things go wrong, essentially the way that many of the monsters in this deck will work is you want your field spell, because the field spell can be treated as Yumi. And when you have the field spell out there, you can do shenanigans, not just for Daedalus, but for Kotorus as well. You have 3 Mother Grizzlies to go ahead and search out some of your lower attack monsters, and also it's a nice deck thing. You have Maiden of Aqua, and in case you need it, to desperately get Yumi out on the field, and it's also a nice defensive wall. Gilman to boost things up. Then Deep Diver and Starboy is also an attack booster, and this will help you stack your deck. Then you have some staple water spell cards, Surface and Anime exclusive card, Return of the Doom, which he used, Terraforming, because let's be that asshole. I believe most of the decks do run Mystical Space Typhoon or something of the like, and you have Level Limit Area B, because the other thing on top of raising attack and running things over is the field spell here, Legendary Ocean, also drops the levels of water monsters by 1. So that's why it's important that these are level 5, so that you can summon them without any tributes. And in addition to this, all your level 4s become level 3s, so they're not affected by level limit, and they're not affected by Gravity Bind, but your opponent is. Then you have some other really nice water-like cards. Dust Tornado is there just because, and Tornado Wall is an amazing, beautiful card in this deck. And then you have a Dark Bribe, because let's make it Mako Tsunami an asshole. And the side deck, this card isn't actually needed in the deck, it's more so just because I like to have an even number of things, and then some nice cards with some anime exclusive stuff. And that is Mako's deck. Next up, we have Strings, Mako Tsunami's opponent. And yes, I did give Strings Slifer the Sky Dragon. That is the main purpose of this deck. And so Strings ran a slime deck, so he focused on Revival Jam. He had these 2 creatures as well as their fusion, which is a nice 2200, so it can have potential offense outside of that. And that was essentially it. The other stuff that he used were the spells and trap cards. Excuse me, these shouldn't be up here. Were the spells and trap cards. But I went ahead, and since his deck was a little short on monsters that fit his theme, I added the slime monsters that were anime exclusive cards from the GX era, as well as other aqua-like creatures. And there is no specific purpose that these have. And since his deck, the engine of it anyways, the slime engine was used by Merrick, I went ahead and plopped in the Tribe Infecting Virus if all goes awry. And this deck is mainly defensive as well as stall. And we only run the 1 Revival Jam to keep things fair. And with the 2 Mother Grizzly, you can get that out fairly easy. Then you have the 2 polymerizations for either 2 Worm Drakes, or in case you want to go ahead and make Egyptian God Slime, because why the fuck not? And though Meta Reflect Slime does have an anime effect, I found through personal use that it is almost never going to be used when we were testing all the decks. So I went ahead and replaced it with its original ability, its printed ability. Then you have just a bunch of cards that make sense, and Mass Driver is good for combos in the deck. 2 copies of Infinite Cards, 2 copies of Jam Breeding Machine with anime ability. And the side deck, there is a second Revival Gem in case you need more consistency for drawing, and there's nothing really to explain in the side deck. And that's it for strings.